Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
What we're calling for is the federal government to say, states, you have to secure the integrity of your elections.
First at 6:30, Republicans writing a letter to President Trump asking for an executive order concerning voter ID issues. This comes after hundreds of non-citizens were registered to vote in Oregon last year due to errors in the motor voter program. Good evening and thanks for joining us for NBC 16 News at 6:30. I'm Alan Matthews.
And I'm Gold Meadows. Secretary of State Tobias Reed says these errors were a result of bad execution, not bad policy.
Meanwhile, Republican Representative Ed Deal says it's time for the federal government to take action to better secure the state's elections. Salem Bureau reporter Vasily Varlamos has more.
There's been concern for a long time about citizenship status on our voter rolls.
Representative Ed Deal and 6 other House Republicans sending a letter to President Trump asking for an executive order mandating voter ID requirements and citizenship verification for individuals registering to vote. The lawmakers concerned over voter registration errors in Oregon. Before last year's election, the DMV mistakenly registered hundreds of non-citizens through the motor voter program, which automatically registers an individual to vote when they get or renew a driver's license. Only 3 cases were referred to prosecutors. Following an audit from the governor's office, the Secretary of State's office implemented random sampling tests to confirm each file is accurate, daily file controls to make sure the DMV and Secretary of State's numbers match in a yearly review panel.
Those are all floors, not ceiling. We'll continue to look for additional ways to add security to make sure that our processes are accurate.
Motor voter registrations return this year. Reed says the errors were a result of bad execution, not bad policy.
What we're focused on is making sure that we are executing well, and that's why the additional procedures and controls that we talked about are so important.
Representative Deal says nothing is more important than securing our elections.
If we can't do that, people will not trust the outcomes, and they're not going to trust, in turn, the decisions that leadership is making.
I'm Vasily Varlamos reporting.
Now, Oregon Democratic lawmakers were not available to speak on that matter today. Now, we will keep you up to date if there's any response from the Trump administration.
A Glide woman is safe after an early morning rescue by search and rescue teams. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office, along with Douglas County Search and Rescue, were called when 18-year-old Danielle Clydesmith didn't come back from a hike on the North Umpqua Trail. Clydesmith's family looked for her before finally calling search and rescue a little after 8 last night. Using drones and K9 search teams, volunteers hit the woods to look for her. They found her at about 4:30 this morning, walking along Highway 138 uninjured. Clydesmith says she decided to head towards the Tioga Bridge once it was too dark to find her way back. A U.S. Coast Guard rescue team found itself in an unfamiliar position Wednesday night, asked to attempt a vehicle extraction on the McKenzie River. Lexi Ryan spoke with the team that pulled it off.
A woman in her car, trapped there for hours in rushing rapids, so surrounded by terrain and trees and darkness and a little bit of low visibility, so it was definitely something different, something challenging.
A U.S. Coast Guard team based in North Bend rescued a 71-year-old woman who was trapped in her vehicle after driving off McKenzie Highway into a rock ledge in the middle of a river.
There were some rain showers between us and where the car was at, and lower freezing temperatures, so it took us a while to get some good planning in to see if we could get there. Once we got on scene, I think we were probably in a hover maybe 15 minutes.
While the Coast Guard is trained in water rescues, there isn't particular attention paid to vehicle extractions in a river.
We mostly operate offshore or inland. The river definitely played an extra role, and then also the vehicle being in the river was also a unique factor to this case. Just getting the survivor out of the vehicle was something that we don't necessarily train for, that I had to figure out on the fly. Luckily, she had a sunroof on her vehicle. That was a great way to get her out.
After Gant was hoisted from a Coast Guard helicopter, he found his footing on the roof of the vehicle and then used his crash axe to gain access through the sunroof.
Once the glass was cleared, I heard banging from the inside. Great sign. Didn't know if the driver was alive or not, so that told me she was alive, and that was great. I got a hand under the visor, ripped that off of the frame of the vehicle, and there she was, sitting in the driver's seat.
The driver was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The rescue was a collaborative effort between the Coast Guard and multiple other agencies, including Eugene Springfield Fire and Oregon State Police. In Coos County, I'm Lexi Ryan.
We have a live look over Eugene tonight. Alan Matthews has a first look at your forecast, and this has been a forecast I'm very pleased with. I have no complaints.
You know, and my only disappointment right now is I wish Ronald Clark was here. He's covering some high school basketball tonight because I would love to get his thoughts on it because he should like this weather, but
He probably wanted warmer.
Yeah, exactly. So let's show you what's going on right now. 58 degrees in Eugene. We are seeing a bit of cloud cover out there as well. Our winds are fairly calm and our humidity at 46%. Radar satellite, not much shown on the screen right now. Again, we are seeing a few passing clouds move through the area, but outside we saw a lot of sunshine for the day, and that did help warm things up a little bit in the valleys. Temperatures getting in the low 60s for both Eugene and Roseburg today. Now we will see a little bit of cloud cover tonight. Overnight temperatures will generally be in the mid to upper 30s, and those highs tomorrow I think will get a little bit warmer for the valleys, getting into the mid to upper 60s. We should be looking at a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky tomorrow. It is going to be dry for the upcoming weekend, although we could see some isolated showers developing Sunday night and Monday for the Willamette Valley. Unfortunately, cooler temperatures will return along with the rain. We'll break it all down with your full forecast in just a bit. Gold?
Thanks, Alan. The dogs are getting loose this weekend when law enforcement canine groups come together to help raise funds for the future of their programs. Reporter Rigo Aguilera met up with some of the dogs to learn more.
Meet Zorro and Eros. These two law enforcement companions will be on their toe beans at the Hops for Canine Cops event, where law enforcement teams come together to talk about their canine programs, answer questions, and provide opportunities to meet their dogs up close. The goal for the Friends of the Umpqua Valley Police Canine Programs is to collect donations to help law enforcement cover the costs of their canine programs. The canine programs would not be the same without the generous funding from the nonprofit.
It would probably shrink our canine program down to maybe 1 or 2 dogs, just again because it's just so expensive with everything that we need. Vet care, dog food, all the extra training we go to throughout the state. So yeah, if we were to lose that funding, I mean, it would hurt us in the long run.
According to DCSO, the dogs are mostly used to collar criminals that run from law enforcement or to sniff out missing people. The nonprofit spends $50,000 or more every year to help support canine program needs, including kibbles and vet visits.
We realized that by us being able to purchase and fund most of the big ticket items that these agencies, the law enforcement agencies needed, there would be less impact on their annual budgets. So they may be less apt to cut any canine program if they were looking to shave money off a budget. The more we're able to fundraise and support, for instance, the sheriff's office, the less the sheriff's office has to use any of their budget.
You can see more dogs like Zoros and Eros at Sunday's event. You can buy tickets online or at the door, and the event starts at 2 p.m. The Hops for Canine Cops event will be at Backside Brewing in Roseburg. Tickets cost $60 for adults and $35 for children. I'm Rigo Aguilera reporting.